Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to the witnesses for participating today. It is an important hearing. Congress has resorted, obviously, to some unprecedented policies to help small businesses and their employees get through this pandemic. And we charged a very small agency with standing up massive relief programs and providing hundreds of billions of dollars in aid. And for the most part, these relief programs, and particularly the Paycheck Protection Program, were very, very successful. And in the state of Iowa, we know that the Paycheck Protection Program and several others saved hundreds of thousands of jobs. However, there have been a number of problems as outlined by my colleagues, including, just as the ranking member said, the Planned Parenthood affiliates that violated SBA's affiliation rules to receive the Paycheck Protection Program. And this is unacceptable, and we do expect that SBA will hold Planned Parenthood and those affiliates accountable. And I am so grateful to have the opportunity to discuss some of these programs today. And a number of the questions I had have actually been asked by other members, but I'd like to underscore some of what has already been brought up. I know that we are working to prevent fraud. SBA is very intent upon that. We've heard from many Iowans that were eligible to receive a second round of PPP, but they've been unable to receive those funds because of the hold codes that have been placed against their loan. And in your testimony, Mr. Kelly, you said that there were approximately 190,000 loans with outstanding hold codes. And what is being done right now to resolve those hold codes? And maybe you could explain at what rate this number has been declining just in recent weeks.
Sure, thank you for the question. The hold codes themselves are not, first off, dispositive of ineligibility, nor are they dispositive of fraud, waste, and abuse. What they are is a set of alerts that are indicators, as Mr. Scheer and Mr. Ware have indicated, are helpful in identifying places where we need to point our efforts. So it begins, that population was originally a 2 million instance population that has been culled down over the last several months to that population that I referenced in my testimony of 190,000. What we are in the process of doing is working with the lending community to adopt certification language that they have given feedback on that should help them process lender certifications that they are able to clear, which is one of the accelerants. Second, we had, beginning in November of 2020, the agency commissioned a machine learning tool and created a pool of applications for testing. And we are on the precipice of deploying that machine learning tool. And the combination of those two things should go a long way to addressing the hold codes that the remaining hold code population, consistent with protecting against fraud, waste, and abuse.
No, that's very good. And I appreciate that. Of course, the sooner, the better. So I'm glad to hear that you are updating the system with machine learning. I think there's a lot that could be taken from that. I'm just going to reiterate a little bit about some of the other issues that were brought up in addition to fraud. Senator Cantwell had also mentioned the shuttered venue operating grant applications process. And hopefully we do have a little smoother rollout than we did with the Paycheck Protection Program, because I know there were banks that, in order to get the applications in, they were up in the middle of the night submitting those applications. So hopefully we can speed that along a little bit, just to double down on what Senator Cantwell was saying. And then finally, because I just have a few seconds remaining, Mr. Kelly, for the Paycheck Protection loan forgiveness. I've heard from a number of Iowa universities and rural hospitals who received the PPP loans, and they have been waiting quite a while for their forgiveness. I had a college in Northwest Iowa that applied for forgiveness back in the fall, but they have yet to hear anything back from the SBA. If they don't get their loan forgiven by April 15th, then they will be forced to change their annual audit numbers, and that likely will impact their Department of Education financial ratings. So this is an issue. I appreciate the fact that SBA is scrutinizing the larger loans, but certainly we need to make sure we're getting what loans are forgivable forgiven in a timely manner. So can you just very briefly provide us with a quick update on the process and timing for the forgiveness of those larger loans?
Yes. So beginning last week, we deployed a tiered sampling clearance process. So there's a sampling population that is going to be part of our improper payments process that you begin after 12 months. And that sampling population was creating a one-size-fits-all between the smallest loans and the largest loans. And we have determined now, after processing nearly 50% of the forgiveness applications, that we can make adjustments to that. That will free up resources to point towards the 30,000 loans in excess of 2 million. In addition, as I mentioned, the machine learning model tool will clear hold codes that have caused delays. And we are also in a position where we can start to modify the forgiveness process from 150,000 to 2 million, because we've taken in all of the data analytics and learnings from processing nearly 50% of the units. And so now we feel confident about the trend line. For example, 87% of filers are showing no reduction to FTE because they are electing to use the 24-week period. So those are some of the things, Senator, that we will deploy. But
Very
this is
good.
a critical.
No, thank you. And again, sooner is always better, I think, for all of the members on this committee as well as we're working through this pandemic. But Mr. Kelly, I thank you very much. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Certainly.